aí.
Make.
Miss.
Ovo je liga promašaja i pogodaka.
Spice it up a bit. All right. Make humility. Second quarter. Hawks, Lakers. Check out this move by Evan Turner. This is LeBron sliding. Then later in the game, LeBron gets left hanging by Dwight. Hold on, we'll see it here in a second. Janae, what's more embarrassing? Left hanging or?
So the thing is, I watched the play live, and it's tough to get left hanging twice in one game. This was the second time, so yeah. But I mean, you got to go for the clap.
Quick recovery, though. That was a quick, stylish recovery.
You know who the best recoverer is at that? Is Josh Hart.
Yeah.
He does it so well.
It happens
Like
to
with
him
the
a lot,
nod,
though.
too. But see, we don't talk about this crossover because the next play was a dunk, and so we were over it quick.
All right. Well, I think we are talking about it right
Who's
now.
the guy behind LeBron who actually got the high five?
Miles Simon?
Yeah. No, that wasn't
Another
him.
guy. All right, miss. Friendly bounces. Celtics down 1 inside 5 seconds. Marcus Smart drives, shoots a floater, and it dances on the rim. Falling off. Check out Javonte Green on the C's bench. Zach, was he trying to scream the ball in? Does that even work? Look at this.
Look at him. I like that. You got whatever it takes in that moment.
My sound waves can make it.
We do this on the free throw line. I'm like,
Look how angry he is. He failed. His screaming failed.
It works though. The gods of Spalding and Wilson sometimes listen.
Wilson?
Yeah.
Last time you played with a Wilson?
Shoot, man, I play in the streets. You know what I'm saying?
You're not in the street.
Pick up any ball.
Next topic.
That is a fierce scream.
It is.
Make spin cycles. Check out this move on the blacktop. This is in the streets. Guys decides dribbling is overrated.
Oh my God.
Does some pointless spinning and hits a mid-range jumper.
Hold up, carry.
Travel.
Ramon hasn't been watching too many Starbury highlights.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's much better.
That Jake Bosco
That was Jake Bosco. And that was Ricky Davis on the
Actually, a good
defense.
catch, too.
Oh, yeah.
He just played the whole team in that one
It's
position.
actually a pretty good defense,
Yeah.
but the guy didn't fall for it.
Jake Soccer do the workout. Make comebacks. Wizards Magic. Wiz down 3 late. Markelle Fultz comes up with a steal and the dunk.
Yeah, Markelle.
Throw it down.
Zach, your thoughts on Fultz's season thus far?
I think it would be a great story if this lasted. I was surprised the Magic promoted him to the starting lineup as fast as they did, but he made 2 left wing threes last night very comfortably. Like, this is starting slowly but surely to happen.
My thing was always, he can bring so much to the court that has nothing to do with shooting. Don't focus on the jump shot. Do the things you can do, and that's one of the things right there. All right, let's move to a team that's been in the playoffs for each of the previous 22 seasons, the San Antonio Spurs. The common denominator for each playoff appearance is Coach Pop. Back on Saturday, Pop was ejected for stepping on the court to argue a non-call. That's a very nice way to put it. Tim Duncan took over with Becky Hammond right by his side. That was the Spurs' 5th straight loss, their longest losing streak since 2011. Zach, is this it? This is the year we're going to put the nail in the coffin. They're dead. They're not going to make the playoffs. Forget about it. They're going to have to rebuild.
They Undertaker right up whenever we do this. So yeah. I'm not going to go there because I actually thought they would be better than this. I'm surprised how bad they have been. They're 24th in defense. They just look bad and disorganized. And I actually thought with Murray coming back and I'd like the DeMar Carroll signing. I don't really know what's going on there. He hasn't played. I'm a little surprised how bad they are. But what scares me, 8 home games already and a really easy schedule, and they're way behind the 8 ball, and they stink with DeRozan and Aldridge on the court again, which is a problem that it was last year.
See, to me, this is the first real transitional year for the Spurs. I know we just celebrated Tony Parker's jersey retirement, and they haven't been on the team. That core, the big three, is all, is gone. But if you look at the way they're playing, they're changing their style of play, kind of. They're playing a little bit faster. They're still trying to find out what they have with their stars. LaMarcus Aldridge, DeMar DeRozan, those guys, they're not really locked in for the long term. So I think this is their exploratory period where they're trying to find, okay, DeJounte, how good are you? How are you going to help us? They don't have anything tied to the future. So this is the first time that Pop's system is evolving. And I'll even allude this to Stanford women's basketball. When I was at Stanford, we played triangle the whole time I was there. When my sister and I graduated, there was not necessarily a dominant post for the first time in a long time. They had to redo the system. And there were some times where, okay, you didn't make it to the Sweet 16, you didn't make it to the Final Four, but a couple years later, you find your new identity. This is the first time their system is really changing. And our coach, Tara Vanderveer, is a Hall of Famer, very similar to Pop.
I like your humble brag, by the way. Oh, they didn't have a dominant post presence.
But it takes some time.
Well, there's also the triangle that you have to be smart enough to go to Stanford to run the triangle.
Where did you go to school?
I don't know. Can we talk, though, about the missed opportunity? Like, Tim Duncan was coaching that team, but there was a lot of confusion about who was the actual coach there. And I was following this. We tried to watch it on League Pass because we were at the Clipper game that night, and it was Becky Hammond had the clipboard, and she's the highest ranking assistant besides Pop, so it seems like that should have been her game. So she has the clipboard. Will Hardy's in there. Tim Duncan's there. Pop clarified afterwards that Tim was coaching the team because he had the Blazers scout, and so therefore he stepped into that role. But for a minute there, I was getting really excited, right? We had our first female head coach in the NBA, and then it wasn't. And I've processed this a little bit. I actually had a chance to run into Lindsey Harding, who was here with the Sacramento Kings the other night, and we were talking about there's 10 female coaches in the league right now. They're all assistant coaches, and Becky was the first, but now that there are 10, I think we have to be careful to not always focus on the history and remember, like, she needs to be treated, and they all want to be treated the same way any assistant coach would be. Yeah. When you earn that opportunity, when it's that moment where you're going to make the history, that you've earned it and you're not just getting it because you were a woman, and we're not focusing on that because you're a woman. So I guess as much as I was disappointed, I understand it because Tim did have this.
To be honest with you, Ramona, I remember when she was interviewing for the job in Milwaukee, and I said, and people got on me because they thought I was trying to throw shade, but I said, this doesn't happen. Second row assistants don't get head coaching interviews, and there's a kind of stepping stone process, and I kind of respect that, that's what she's going through right now. All right, coming up, Giannis Antetokounmpo is improving his three-point shot this season. Are we seeing peak Giannis?
Uh-oh.
We'll show you his numbers compared to some of the top stars in today's game.
Let me see that.
Next.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to surprise you.
Cash out.
Some of these names will surprise you.
It's exciting every night of the season.
There's no way Batazzi could have had any idea what was about to happen.
That was Giannis on Saturday, dunking on 3 Pacers at once. Welcome back to The Jump. I feel really bad for Jakar Sampson because he tried and it just didn't work out.
Look out.
Ooh. The Bucks are 7-1 in November. Giannis continues to improve on his MVP year with career highs in points and rebounds this season. But what might be the scariest stat? He's shooting 39% from three-point range this month, 32% on the season. Zach, are we reaching peak Giannis?
First of all, some of those dunks are just rude. Like, he's just rude. It's just rude. It's impolite what he's doing to some of these dudes. Giannis this season is taking, it's not so much the percentage, because it's going to go like this, right? We're going to be able to isolate, 6 games he was really good, 6 games he was really bad. He's taking more of them. He's taking 3 pull-up threes a game, up from like 1.7, 1.8 last year. He looks comfortable. And look, the only hope you have of defending him now is that you put a center on him and lay all the way back and wait because he's not going to shoot, or his teammates are bad and can't shoot, which isn't the case. And if he eliminates that first strategy, I'm not really sure what you're supposed to do anymore other than just sort of pray he has a bad night.
Yeah. I'm talking about my former coach. She used to call that prayer defense when you're hoping like that he misses or she misses.
Like when you played UConn?
Yeah. No.
Wow.
We beat them on their we beat their 88-game win streak. I have a good record against UConn. 3 Final Fours, Zach. But when it comes to Giannis, a fellow Nigerian, that is great. I really think he has opportunity to develop just that rhythm and the reads on the perimeter. As you mentioned, he's knocking down those threes. It's sort of like he winds up, he dribbles into them, and then he shoots. He's assessing. That's beautiful in transition.
That shot right there, he doesn't make last year. He probably doesn't take it.
He doesn't take it last year, but he has to now.
He started in the playoffs. That's the big thing. Last year in the playoffs, he started taking more and more of those shots and making them around the clip he's making them right now.
Well, also, you just watch the defense. He's taking them because they're sagging off and because they're daring him to take it, and he's just pulling up and taking it now. And it looks like he's really confident in those pull-up threes.
Is he your front runner for MVP?
I mean, look at the numbers, though. Look, 30, 14, and 6.
I don't think you can ignore James, and I don't think you can ignore the way LeBron's playing right now. For him to be leading the league in assists.
By the way, these names are not a coincidence. He's shooting better from 3 than everyone else on this list. And I know it's early, but that's still not something that we would expect.
Probably a smaller sample size from 3 than most of those guys.
No, he's taking about 4 a game. So, I mean, it's a...
And James is?
I don't know, not 4 games.
40.
Current Western Conference Player of the Week, James Harden. Is that the James you're talking about?
Yes, it is.
Is averaging 39.5 points per game. He had 49 on Saturday on a career high 41 shots. So did I at Le Batard's wedding. On top of that, over their last 5 games, Houston has the second best ranked defense in the league. They're on a 7-game win streak. During that stretch, only the Clippers and Pelicans have offensive rankings in the top 10. So Shanae, is the Rockets win streak for real, or is it schedule based? And I want to focus on the defensive side of it.
Yeah, it's real. And the reason why their defense struggled early on is because they were not making shots. They led the league, and they probably still lead the league in 3-point attempts per game. And when you take that many threes, and what did James Harden start shooting? About 15, 18%? When you're taking about 20 threes and only making 3, 4, 5, obviously long threes mean longer rebounds, which means a shorter court for your opponent. They're getting and going from the 3-point line, not the baseline, and then that's easier offense for your opponent. Now they have an opportunity with James Harden making shots to set up their defense. Once you take it out of bounds, your whole team gets back and your defense gets better. So the more they make shots, the better their defense will continue to be, and it's #1 in the league right now. So yes, I think the Rockets, they live and die by the three, but the best case scenario here is keep making them, setting up your defense, and then now you're realizing you're a contender with Russell Westbrook as well because you're also playing faster.
Well, and transition defense is the weakest part of their defense because A, they have some bad habits, and B, you know, when you play the way they do, you have 2 corner shooters, a guy under the rim, and Harden driving. If he misses, you have no floor balance at all. So making shots is important. Their starts of the season, you get a team or two like this every year where they're so bad defensively for 6 or 7 games. It just looks like they're not on the same page. They're learning each other, and now they've learned each other. So I think it's real-ish. I think it's real. The opposition has clearly helped, though.
Can we talk about the 41 shots, though?
Let's
okay,
do it.
so when Kobe Bryant in his last game scored 60 points, he took 50 shots. That's the most shots I have seen in person. Yeah. Okay? But he took 50 shots because his teammates started feeding him the ball in the second half to say, keep shooting, keep shooting. We want you to get as many points as you can. Like, this is 41 shots in the course of a normal game.
Well, Russ didn't play. Right. Russ was out. My thing with all the people who hate watching Harden, and I get it, I don't love watching Harden, it's like, stop it. Yeah. Stop it. Like, until the math doesn't work, they're going to play like this. And so if you hate it, if you're one of these purist coaches, stop it. Do something to make the math not work.
And I'm not going to get too emotionally invested considering I'm from Houston. I've been emotionally invested in this team my whole
you're gonna
life.
claim in one day.
But if you think about it, like if his teammates don't have a problem with him taking those many shots, I know maybe 1 or 2 might, but his greatness overpowers that, then it's cool. But until his greatness starts to piddle down, then maybe it will actually be an issue.
Put simply, it's the best chance they have at winning. The way they play right now, that's the best chance they have to win games. So you can't argue with it. And I would argue that fans don't like it, but when you talk to players on other teams,
exactly.
His handle, everything?
They got a lot of respect for it.
Awe.
All right.
Awe.
Coming up, Paul George is off to a great start with the Clippers. He's just 2 games in. But is it possible that PG can be better than he was last year? But first, here's what the Jump recommends. For today, Jonathan Givony and Mike Schmitz have new intel on potential #1 draft pick James Wiseman. Is his top spot at risk? Plus reports on several other top 100 prospects, now available on ESPN+.